Yes, it's come to the last month of the year. Seannosis is back again in the building, and today I'm just gonna do a end of year review of growing apples here in Jamaica. It's been a very epic year in terms of the progress we have made, and it means we set a couple standards when it comes to growing apple trees here in Jamaica. For one, we have identified the type of rootstock that is needed, and two, we have shown at least a few number of varieties that are capable of producing in our climate. Next year we're gonna do a lot of great things, but as I said before, we're just gonna do a little review on the successes and also some of the negatives that we also experienced this year, the 2025 growing season. Stay tuned. So not in chronological order, I'm gonna list the varieties that have bloomed for me and fruited for me this year. So the first one would be William's Pride, and that one was a very surprise to me. I did not expect it. That variety gave me a set of nice apples, gave me a set of nice apples that was very surprised that they were that good. And based on the other reviews online, they really lived up to their expectation. And after that, we got the Gold Rush. Gold Rush bloomed for me this year. So also, a matter of fact, it bloomed for me last year. Late last year, but it also bloomed again this year, and it gave me at least 7 fruits. And those were also great. They are very precocious. After Gold Rush, we have the Wambugu Apple. Those, we expected those to bear, but it took a while compared to the marketing hype of 9 months. Took 3 years to give us its first fruits, but it has been the one that has consistently bloomed. However, we have been experiencing a lot of aborted pollination. I suspect it's either due to fungal infection or a pest called thrips. So next year, I'm gonna be doing a lot of spraying on a lot of these varieties. If you made it this far in the video, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And next we have on the list that bloomed was winter banana. And doing a lot of research, I knew that winter banana was also precocious, and it really lived up to its reputation in bearing early. On the taste wise, I did not get a good apple per se, because it was one of the apples that bore in my mini nursery, my research nursery, and because it wasn't planted in the ground like the other apple trees, I believe it did not give me that great fruit I was expecting, but still edible nonetheless. So that's that. And then we have Pink Lady. Again, because it was not in the ground, we did not get a very consistent apple with what we see in the supermarket, right? And it was also edible, but still did not live up to the hype of what we got in the supermarket. So hopefully next year we get not only blooms on Pink Lady, but also fruits. And then there's another one called Cinnamon Spice. That one bloomed and bore a small fruit, but unfortunately I forgot to put it in a fruit bag, and the rodents got to it, so we didn't get that one there, but it did fruit. So Cinnamon Spice is on the list for being a precocious bearer, even on seedling rootstock. So far, the ones that I've mentioned, those bore fruit on seedling rootstock. And if you do your research, seedling rootstocks are not the most precocious rootstocks. But because the varieties are very precocious, those kind of reduce the time needed to bear fruit. So sometimes you might have a very precocious variety that will push despite it being on a seedling rootstock or a standard rootstock that are typically known not to be precocious. So, and after that we got blooms from Lady Williams, but unfortunately no fruit from them to do any review. And in my previous videos, and you will know that Lady Williams is the parent to Pink Lady and also Sundowner. Likewise, Sundowner also produced blossoms, but we didn't get any fruit from them. So hopefully next year. We also saw blooms from Enterprise. That's one of the apples from the PRI disease program, and based on my observations and reviews online, it's one of the most disease-resistant apple. I think one of the cyan woods that I grafted on Enterprise, I believe Waltana, which also bloomed this year, I think it got an infection. However, Enterprise was able to fight off that infection. Right, so in the future, when I'm doing my multi-graft tree and also interstem grafting, I'm going to use Enterprise as a foundation for a multi-graft tree to improve the disease resistance of the apple tree. So just in case if we get any infections, we can actually save the tree by removing the infected part, because I know that Enterprise will actually stop it. It's very resistant to most of the fungus and bacteria that typically affect apple trees, especially fire blight and apple canker. Another variety that I think bloomed this year, that would be Red Devil. I thought I almost pollinated Red Devil, but unfortunately those didn't take, and I believe it's because of the trips. Other than that, we have a few of the crab apple varieties that have bloomed for me. For one, we had Wixon crab apple. Those bloomed, but unfortunately we didn't get any fruit because they were blooming during the time when we didn't have any other pollinators. So that's one of the reasons why I think they didn't take. Another crab variety that bloomed this year is also called Clark's crab. This one is from a member on Growing Fruit Forum. Based on what users and the founder said, it's a very sweet apple. Right, and it bears heavily, so hopefully next year we'll see it, because right now it's also blooming as we speak, but I doubt I'm going to get any fruit from it because I don't think I have that much pollinators in the garden. I think we have a few blossoms of the Wambugu Apple and also Winter Banana bloom, but I think that's the end of the list of apples that have bloomed for me this year. I'm very impressed with what I've done so far in this growing season. I was beginning to wonder when I'm gonna get some fruit, but we got something this year to encourage us going into next year. So we'll see. Next year, we're gonna try and look to get a uniform bud break in terms of the blossoming on the apple trees. So far what I'm seeing is a lot of inconsistent bloom time. We want the apple trees to be blooming abundantly instead of single, like 3 or 4 blooms per month, to attract pollinators consistently. Another thing we're going to be focusing on next year too is growing grapes alongside apple trees. So we're gonna use the grapes as an intercrop, and we're gonna use it to provide some shade, because you know when it comes to the very warm months of the year in Jamaica, the sun is very scorching. So we're gonna see how the grapes can be used as an intercrop. So one of my major goals next year is to grow a red flesh apple, and this one is called Kissabel, and it's one of those patent apple varieties that only selected club growers can get. And this one was purchased in the supermarket. So far, I think I have over 6 different type of red flesh varieties that I've grafted. Red Devil was the one that bloomed this year, and the other one from Kazakhstan. And I know there's gonna be a market for these in Jamaica because it's something very unique. A lot of persons don't know that there are red flesh varieties as it pertains to apples. So this is gonna be one of my major goals next year, is to fruit and taste test a red flesh variety grown in Jamaica. It tastes like shakaberry or quenchade with a slight hint of sugar and tartness, a good balance. And you know, we have a few from Stephen Ed Holmes. So we have Sugarwood, we have Tomboy, we have Pink Lemonade, we have Appaloosa, and we also have Cherry Crunch. So hopefully we get those to bloom and bear next year, because I'm really interested in these red flesh varieties.